A technological genius.
How would that? I would have never guessed. Okay. When are we starting? Have we been going this whole time? Okay. All right. Welcome, QuickDickMcDick, to Egg Warriors.
Hey, thanks, man. I didn't know that I was supposed to wear my gladiator uniforms and come in with I feel like my weapon if I was a warrior, an egg warrior, would be a sickle.
Man, as much as you have talked about freaking chainsaws, how is it not a chainsaw?
But I feel like back in the day of warriors, if you're a warrior, when I think warrior, I mean, okay, I go back to the Great War, World War II, all that good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
They were past sickles in World War II. We used bombs.
I hear you. But that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to acknowledge World War II.
Right.
And then I would go pre that because when I think warrior, I just go to gladiator. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Straight sickles.
Yeah.
Let's get crazy. I think if I had a weapon of choice, it'd probably be a baseball bat. It's so multi-dimensional.
I had that in my video today.
I saw that.
It was a baseball bat.
I was super impressed you had that in there because that's I sleep with one by my bed. For multiple reasons, which we don't have to talk about. But
yeah, so
keep a bat around.
I keep a baseball bat in Morty in my 1994 F-150 in the toolbox for it's not for self-defense, but to be perfectly honest, eventually you lose all your hammers, and I'm not going to say that I haven't used the baseball bat once in my life to just pound in the last staple on my fence. You know what I mean? Got
to do it.
Multi-purpose tool.
Easier than a 2x4 as if you're hammering something in.
But if I got to use one, I will. But when you come from Tuffnell like me,
yeah.
I mean, there's rocks too.
So let's talk about you and Tuffnell. The whole point to this podcast was to shine a light on different people in the ag industry, warriors, if you will, people who have overcome. You've basically created this persona from nowhere, right? But that's not really who you are.
It's, how I describe QuickDick, who is a persona, I guess. But QuickDick he's like a version of me, but just that's spent a little bit of time marinating in spicy barbecue sauce. You know what I mean?
So he's the crazy quick dick. The crazy Dixon is quick dick.
Yeah.
Good dick, bad dick?
To a certain extent, but not really, because I think the fun thing about the character of Quick Dick is that we've all got a little bit of Quick Dick in us. I don't know if that's the way to say it.
I don't know if we can say that exactly, but here's the beauty of what you do. And I was talking to these 4 guys earlier today, in town for the tour. And he said, Quick Dick is talking about things that every single one of us has had happen to us.
Yeah.
And he went right into talking about a calf being stuck against the door. And he's like, that's why we eat them. He's like, and so the stories you tell, you're so relatable.
Yeah.
And you swear.
Yeah, I swear a little bit, which
okay.
We all do kind of thing. But so to be honest, even with some of the stuff that we did at the Thanks for Farming tour there today, that's the first time I have ever gone in front of a crowd and stood by my video productions playing next to me. And I was like, I feel like this is going to be awkward, but it wasn't, because it's probably the first time ever that I have watched real life reaction to video productions that I do, which was really surreal, because anytime I post a video, whether it's YouTube or Twitter or wherever it is on social media, you put your video out there and you try and gauge what you do off of a like or a retweet or a comment or anything like that. And you're like, you don't know.
So you got to see people today react to.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
You don't know how to feel it. And then I was just standing there and just kind of, combing the audience or whatever. And that's to me, that means more to me when you see people. And that's why I've started loving stand-up comedy so much, is because you get real life interactions. Don't get me wrong. I love that people watch and like and share and comment. I appreciate all of it from the bottom of my heart. But when you see yourself connecting with people in real life, that's what it's about. It's real life.
You do a lot of content.
A lot of
content. And how has creating content or marketing your brand, how has it changed how you farm? Has it changed? How or has it?
Yeah,
Those are the two questions.
So I guess it would, but it's, oh man, that's kind of it's a tough question, because I think it's changed how I put content out there. because when I first started off, I thought, well, I mean, it's, when you're farming, you want to show the best part of when you're farming, right?
Only the best.
Yeah. And when everything's
else.
going really good, I want to show, the best canola crop. I want to show the best wheat crop. I want to show when the cows are doing everything they're supposed to do. And like, it's in my intro of most of my videos that I do. Like, I've got this herd of my cows that are in this beautiful Saskatchewan sunset and everything's all good. And I look at them and I look at the camera and I nod like, this is how life's supposed to be. In my intro, I don't show a calf standing on the wrong side of the panel that her mother just birthed in -30, that they're both trying to get to each other and can't, you know what I mean? And I found out really fast that, especially after, talking to people like Leslie Kelly and a few other people that are, heavy hitters in the social media agriculture industry, it's important for me to show the
shitty side.
Yeah, the shitty side of it, man. Like, and since I started doing that, it's hilarious. And I've done a couple of little, I wouldn't, like, we can call them tests. You can call them whatever you want. But I've done content where I'll put certain content against certain content at the same time of day on the same social media app, same. But I'll put content where things are good, and I'll put content where things are
real,
fucked.
Yeah,
and I'm saying it because we're on Ag Warriors, and if you don't swear every now and then, I don't know who you are. And guess which one does better?
Of course, the one that's real, the one that's shitty
Why?
all the time.
Why?
Because people can relate to that.
Because it's real life,
right? Yeah, 100%. When you're relatable, I think that's what makes you you. Right before you even went on today, that same group of farmers, I was talking to them, and they were there to listen to you today, and they were super excited. And they've seen your videos and stuff. And I said, he's a better person than you even know, because you are.
Well, I appreciate it, but I'm very lucky to have people that come to see me, to talk and to do my thing. And like, that was it was, again, like an experiment today. And I appreciate you guys always giving me
being your guinea pig. Like, here's your stage, quick, come out, do something, and we'll be your test case.
I appreciate you guys always giving me the platform to do some of this stuff, but I also, like, I appreciate your trust. And like, I'm not going to go on the stage and just make an ass out of you guys,
totally. Well, you made people laugh, and that's one of the things that whole event is about, is saying thank you. You're a farmer, you know, and you come in and you're there to make other farmers laugh and to bring some joy. Because farming, honestly, is shitty. There's so many good parts of it, but like, I all the time I think to myself, man, I'd like to be a farmer. And then I think to myself, would I? Because it's long hours, super long hours. I've got to either get crop in the ground, or I've got to calve. Then I got to spray, long hours. Then I got to pray for rain, and it never rained.
You got to hay, then you got to do silage, and then you got to fix the corrals, you got to clean the corrals.
Then I got to combine.
Exactly,
I got to do all of these things, and then nobody even understands where their food comes from. I didn't. I had no idea.
Yeah. You know what I'll tell you to that, though, is and like, I appreciate love and am very honored to be a part of the ag community here. But there's a lot of jobs that involve long hours and long days and long everything. I mean, have you ever talked to a guy that drives log truck up north of Dawson Creek, BC, or have you talked to a battery operator that's had a bad day at -30 for 5 days and they're working 16, 17 hours? I think what I try and do with a lot of the content that I do is to try and pay homage to a lot of the hardworking Canadians that we have here. And there's a lot of us. Yeah. And it's not just in agriculture. Don't get me wrong. Agriculture is a huge part of Canada. I mean, we are one of the biggest heavy hitters on a global stage of who exports food that we eat to consume to sustain life. Right. But on top of that, I mean, agriculture doesn't happen without that guy that's standing in the derrick of a drilling rig. And it doesn't happen without that girl that's out working on a pipeline. And it doesn't happen without that one truck driver that's out there bringing a load of diesel fuel to the service station that you're going to fill your truck up to do anything that we do. There are so many things that connect us all here in Canada to each other. And yeah, I guess I swing more towards the side of agricultural content, but I sure hope that in a lot of my productions, I can do some kind of service to people that work a lot of these other industries, because we're all here together. And I think that's a big thing that we miss in Canada with urban versus rural is, you know what? As much as I might say I don't depend on urban Canada to help me out, I need insurance on some of my stuff in case it catches on fire, and I need.
Well, not every insurance person's urban. There's some good rural insurance people.
No,
Don't
that's
throw
right,
them
man.
on.
But I guess it's just we're all kind of connected, and that's I hope that's what the Quick Dick channel is about.
Well, I don't think that you just have agricultural listeners, for sure. I mean, you have a huge oil and gas background.
Yeah.
And that's something you've talked about before. And that's like you left agriculture for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. And you went and ran a trucking company for a long time.
Yeah. I ran, left the farm, and it was great. It was a really good time of my life. I mean, Dad was younger than he is now. Dad, if you're listening, I'm not saying you're an old bastard, but you kind of are. But like he was young, he was doing his thing. And if you're just doing a cow-calf operation, we were only at 100 commercial head or whatever. Right. Like, I mean, that's not enough work to keep two guys busy all the time. It's a busy job.
Yep.
I'm not negating the effort that goes into it whatsoever. But, I started working oil and gas to try and subsidize the farm and everything. And then, well, before you know it, I'm kind of sending paychecks home. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Can you make it on your own? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So, there's that part of it where you go out and do other things. And when I went and did oil and gas, man, like it just exposed me to a whole different side of an industry that I knew nothing about.
They work hard though.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some of the hardest working people I've found. And like the cool thing about that I've found about being back home in agriculture is like, I come home every night. Like 99.9% of the time I come home. Whereas when I was working,
we've got you on the road.
Yeah, unless I'm doing my thing with the hashtag thanks for farming tour. Yeah, hashtag thunderstruck. But like, no, when I'm out doing my thing on the road here, it's one thing, but I'm used to it. But when I was working oil and gas, I mean, I'd be gone I wouldn't see home for 2 months.
Right.
Nice
to be home and sleep in your own bed and do your own thing.
Yeah, man.
Make your own coffee in the morning.
When you leave in the morning, you don't have to take 2 weeks worth of clothes with you.
Right.
You know that even
I don't know what that's like, but I hear it's cool.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't know that at all,
we're
right?
On the road all the time.
Yeah.
So one of the things, you're pretty outspoken about the government. I don't want to talk about the current government, but if you were the prime minister, right? Because you hate on the Canada's guy.
Yeah,
it's Canada's guy. It's not necessarily my guy or your guy or any farmer's guy, but it's Canada's guy because he was elected. Like nobody stole that election. That was we'll call it divided country. Mm-hmm. But if Quick Dick was prime minister, what would you do? How would you run this country?
I would focus on trying to bring people together. I think the biggest problem that we have right now, not with just our federal government that we have in Canada, but it's all governments basically. When you look down the straight and narrow of what they do, is as soon as the government's elected, a government's job is to get reelected.
Right.
So what was one of the biggest things that our current leader of Canada promised when he was first elected?
I don't listen to anything he says.
It's no problem. I don't blame you. But it was electoral reform.
Right.
Right. But when the current system is the system that got you into power,
you're not going to.
Why would you ever change it?
You would never change.
You're not going to, because your new job is to just be reelected.
Right.
And you know what? It might be political.
So electoral reform is the platform you would run on?
Like, I don't know if it's what I would run on. I would run on, I'm just going to be an honest person and I'm going to do what's best for Canada. I'm going to do what's best for everybody. I'm not just going to do
You'll never get elected trying to do what's best for Canada.
Right? Yeah. But I'm not going to do what's best for just the GTA or just for certain areas of Quebec or certain areas of the Maritimes. I'm going to do what's best for Canada. And that's a hard thing if you were to be a politician, that's a hard thing for a politician to do, because Canada is a huge country. And it's the biggest reason that I have a problem with our federal government and how we run Confederation right now in Canada, because the size of the country of Canada is not something that can be governed with one stroke of a paintbrush. We're not the size of, Norway or some of these smaller countries that a lot of people try and compare us to. I'm like, that's fantastic. But we're the second largest landmass on the planet.
Right. And what's good for people in BC or the Maritimes might not be good for people in the prairies.
And I'm here to tell you, man, that I love people in BC and in the Maritimes and everywhere in between.
Because you love Canada.
I love Canada. Yeah. We're all a big group of incredible people that have the most power that we could unleash on this planet that anybody could ever consider. We have natural resources. We have a workforce. We have industry. We have things that the world needs.
Yeah.
We all just need to go, like what I did on my motorcycle trip. We just need to go
and enjoy it.
Meet Canadians. Don't take it in on social media. don't take it in on some guy's YouTube channel or a podcast or anything.
Don't take it from us. Get out there and go visit Canada.
Go do it. It's amazing. We have an amazing country full of amazing people. I spent 2 weeks in Quebec. I was just on the west side of Trois-Rivières.
That's a lot.
Hey, je me parle un peu de français, if you didn't know. Like, I mean,
tu je ne parle français, monsieur. You don't speak French. Maybe a little bit. Un peu.
It's seulement un peu. Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit. But when you go and meet people, you realize very quickly that we get sent down a lot of different rabbit holes that exist on social media. We're subject to algorithms and to clickbait and to everything. But if you just shut your phone off and put it in your pocket,
it's still listening.
And, and don't pay attention to it and just go out and meet Canadians, you're going to find really quickly that no matter what any news outlets want you to hear, whatever our current prime minister wants you to hear, to try and pitch you against other people. We're just a bunch of Canadians that are here and want the best for everybody.
Pretty cool story. So Mohammed, who you met earlier today, who's a new member of the Thunder family, he just got back. So he had family come over and he just got back from a 2-week road trip to Ontario. So they drove out there and he came back and so we were having a little team meeting on Monday. And he said, and I said, like, how was your vacation? And he says, I'm so happy I came to Canada. It's so beautiful.
Absolutely.
And just the people that he met along the way. And I think that that's something that, a lot of people that listen to you, I think that people could say, Quick just doesn't like the government. But I don't think that that's actually true. I mean, you probably don't like the government, but I know, but you love Canada.
I do.
Like the reason you don't like the government is because of how much you love Canada.
Yeah.
And I think that's, that maybe, I don't know that everybody sees that all the time.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, like, I guess in response to that, one of the bigger things I've got certain social media trolls that like to be right up my ass all the time. And I get it. But anybody, it's hilarious.
Are they going to be now our trolls? Like,
I hope so. Yeah, I hope if I share anything, I hope that's what it is now.
Right.
But I've met some people in real life that disagree with me on social media, and it's one of my bigger things that I try and do, whether you call it my shtick or what it is. But like I always try and reach out to people that have issues with me in comment sections wherever it is, and I'm like, you know what? If you're ever in Tuffnell, let's go for a beer.
Right.
And there's been people that I agree with that I've met that I go for beers with. And there's been people that I disagree with that I've met that I go to beers with. I can promise you, I have never walked away from somebody that I disagreed with on social media after meeting them in real life. And we have a bad taste in our mouths about
each other. That's cool.
Because like what we're doing here right now, we're on a podcast or whatever. But sitting across in real life like this, you get body language, you get a feel off of a person, you can look in their eyes.
Yeah.
And if I say something that you really don't like, I stand a chance of being punched in the face. And I know you're not a violent guy.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. So if you said to somebody else, somebody might punch you in the face.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to.
I think that's
I'm just not going to have you on my podcast anymore. Like, fuck this Quick guy. He's out.
I think that's something that we really need to pay more attention to in society is like social media is not everything. And it's very easy to hide behind a screen and say whatever you think might be on your mind. And a lot of people aren't saying what's on their mind. They're saying what's going to get them likes and clicks and shares.
What they think other people want them to say.
That's
what
exactly
they think other people want to hear. Yeah.
And it's been one of the, whether it's the right thing to do or not, I really don't care. But I mean, like my biggest thing since the inception of my channel is never have I ever asked anybody to like, subscribe, or leave a comment because I don't care. Actually, that's not true. I have said if you don't like what I'm saying, well, just hit me up in the comments and let me know. You know what I mean? But
if you don't like me.
But like watch it or don't. I do what I do because whoever sees it, I want them to have fun with it.
You're controversial at times. Like we've had people.
Yes, I am.
You're bringing QuickDick? Ooh, is that a good idea? And we're like, listen, if you don't like him, then you can leave. Like we think that enough people, that he's going to add enough value to farmers. He's going to make people laugh. That enough people are going to like him and stay. And I didn't see anybody leave today.
So full disclosure, and I might be jinxing myself.
Right.
I have never had anybody walk out of a live show.
Oh man, let's knock on some wood here.
But if they do, that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
It's okay. You don't have to agree with
everybody.
Me. But when I do my comedy, I'm not trying to do stuff that you're going to agree with or disagree with. It's something that is comedy.
Right.
And you're either going to laugh at it or you're going to be offended by it.
One or the other. And you may laugh and be offended. I've laughed and been offended at the same time listening to you sometimes.
But it's what I try and do. And it was my older opening to my show, and that was and thank you for being my first venue where I did stand up comedy to a entire group of Hutterites
who
in
were
Lethbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had a good time anyways.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
I mean, how many shows have you done since that? Do you even know?
Like a lot. I would have to go back and
30?
count them. Oh,
40?
it's more. Yeah,
50?
Way more. Yeah.
Man.
It's insane.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's so cool.
But it's the first thing I say. And I'm just like, hey, you guys all paid your money to get in here. You're not going to get it back.
Right. You're screwed now.
Yeah, I already got paid, which 9 times out of 10 I haven't, but I don't
Right.
care anyways because I'm not going to change my show if it regards me being paid or not.
Well, that's the funny thing about you is the very first time that we talked, you said, go watch these videos. You might not want me after watching these videos. They were cock my bin.
Cock your bin. Yeah.
Cock your bin. That was the first one. What was the second one you said?
Yeah.
Something about the government.
Yeah.
And I called you back. I was like, yeah, we still want you, Quick. We still want you.
But that's it's a lot of the things I do, and like even as far as sponsorships go, like I don't, I'm a very serious advocate of made in Canada.
Yeah,
a lot of different things. I've got some.
You don't
serious,
sell any apparel that's not made in Canada by a Canadian.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah,
and your stuff, like it's good stuff. How are you finding? Because I mean, today, all the time, I'm always seeing like your brand. I don't know what you do in sales, but your brand has grown. That we see Quick Dick stuff. Like we go to a farm show and we do a lot of farm shows.
Yeah,
we see Quick Dick stuff everywhere. So we know that was made in Canada by a Canadian. Why? When did you decide that you were going to do that? Because you could make a lot of money selling stuff made in China.
You really can.
No, like
yeah.
the hats,
if anybody
you
out
could
there's
get that
listening,
same exact hat for probably 4 yen. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, but you could get it for really cheap and
I'll tell you, man, it's $3.50.
Right.
I can get hats that I sell that are made in Canada out of China for $3.50.
Right.
But
But you'll never do that.
And you know what? If you want to go right down a rabbit hole, you actually never even have to bring those products into Canada. The only time they'll come into Canada, if you use the right drop shipping companies and everything, is the only time they'll come into Canada is after all the money's been made on them and they cross the border and they come through whether it's a postal system or courier system or whatever it is. And
that's brutal.
I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm very concerned about how products are sourced and what we do and how we source those products. And you got to do a lot of digging. And I found a couple of great manufacturers, and it's good to work with people that employ Canadians that are a part of our economy here in Canada. Well, and that's why, I mean, I love what you guys do here because you guys employ people in your community and you keep people working. And that's what I've tried to do with my merch line. And shout out to Leanne. She's my merch lady.
She's awesome.
And dude, you did me a solid and you were hooking me up with some family or whatever. And you're like, hey, I got some people here that can help you that are in this business. And we started talks because I wanted to make this Canadian when I did it. And I appreciate everything you did for me.
That's not anti anybody else. That's just pro Canada.
It's pro Canada. And we should all be pro Canada, man. Totally. And I'm sitting there and I'm running over some numbers and full out. This lady named Leanne is a wife of a guy that
could be a husband.
It's 2023. Wife of a guy that farms just a mile away from us, right? And they're some of my best friends. And, there was some tough things going on in the education system in Saskatchewan. We won't get into it, but...
don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
But she was an EA, and she got laid off. And all of a sudden, she came home, and she's like, I don't have a job. And we'd done everything we could to ship Quick Dick merch out of Tuffnell, and... Excuse me. She'd.
I remember you talking about that, going to the post office constantly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And she'd helped me with it. Her and her husband Greg had helped me with it for a long time. And there we were sitting across from each other in Saskatchewan. She's like, I don't have a job, and I was like, I need somebody to do this for me because I can't do it myself. And like that was it. We just kept doing it, and we do everything still to this day.
So she works for you. You gave her a job.
You know what? She promotes the Quick Dick brand and looks after it. Yeah.
That's cool.
And
so is that your first employee?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, of QuickDickMcDick Productions. Right. I mean, I managed a company of drivers of 65 people forever. But
I'm not talking about
for
that.
QuickDick,
for QuickDick, so that's kind of a big deal. Employee number one.
Yeah, employee number one. I tell her every month that she is one employee of the month.
So funny.
And when she calls me boss, I get really mad. I'm like, I'm not your boss. We're still
totally
friends.
Your boss. Yeah. But I think that's part of growing this. Who knows? Maybe someday you'll employ 20 Canadians.
Well, who knows? And like, I don't know. I don't know where the roadmap leads. You know what I mean? I get a question lots of times. People are like, what's your end point? What's your end game? Well, I don't have an end game. I'm just kind of bouncing along this roadmap, and it just you just go where it feels right. You know what I mean? If someday Quick Dick turns into a thing that's not a thing anymore, and like let's be honest, man, comedy and shticks and everything only have a shelf life of so long. Like,
right.
and I always look back to like the blue collar comedy. Jeff Foxworthy,
so are you going to
Larry
shave
the Cable
your
Guy,
beard and be somebody completely different in 5 years?
Well, maybe, who knows, right? But I mean, it's all got a shelf life, right?
Right.
And you know what? All I try to do with it is if we can make people laugh,
yep,
for as long as I can to bring happiness to them, it is something that I was missing from my life for a long time. And I've found this character that has the unique ability to be able to make people that are in situations that I was in forget about the situations they're in for a little while.
And
if
laugh.
I can keep doing that, I'll do it until I can't do it anymore. And then once it's not working anymore, it's not happening, that's fine. I'll just go back to that pesky farming thing.
Okay, so I want to talk about that for a little bit. And I don't know how long Tommy's going to let us go because Tommy's the man.
I'm just waiting for the clapboard to come down.
What we talked about is
you guys brought me
collar.
another beer, so it doesn't matter. I'll be here as long as you want. It's like you know how to fish for me. You know what I mean?
Every time, every farm show I see, it's like, quick, I got a beer for you. But no, enough with the brand and all that. Let's talk about Dixon Delorme and let's talk about farming, right? Because that's something you're passionate about. Like this is something you're doing too, and you're passionate about that and making people laugh. But what's the future of your farm? Like you bought some land this year, right?
Yeah.
And you bought some cows.
Yeah. So I've had land for a while. And like what I did when I was back when we were talking earlier about.
And you bought your grandpa's bull?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, man. So like way back in the day when I was, in cattle and everything with my dad, we sold out and I was like, well, that'll be it for me. And I rented my land out. My dad rented his land out and I just kept working the oil field. And then I came back home and I was lucky enough to run across this guy named Mark. And he's a guy that I went to school with way back in the day. He's about 6 years older than me or whatever, right? And he worked oil field too. That's kind of what we all do in our neck of the woods. You kind of leave
Saskatchewan and then you come back.
And then you come back and you realize what you've left kind of thing, right? Anyways, long story short, I'd left the oil field. I was a very unhappy person. Plagued with business problems and stress and a whole bunch of different things. A lot of the things that Leslie talked about today there, and I just came home and run across Mark, and I was kind of transitory in a point in my life where I was between being in Canada and I was supposed to go to Australia and keep working oil and gas.
Jeez.
And just ran across Mark, and we kind of just started doing a couple odd jobs. I was waiting for a work visa to come through. And I was home, and I've always had my house at home. I've always had my land at home. I've always had everything. And I just kind of fell back in love with being home. And I was like, no, this is
where I'm staying.
Take the monetary part of it away.
Right.
All of a sudden I'm just happy in my life.
So are you going to build the farm? Is that the plan? Are you going to build the ranch?
I wouldn't call it build. My dad, built something that was fantastic, and he's just reached a point in his life where he's like, I've just kind of had enough and everything. And that was quite a long time ago. And he's just semi-retired and he just doesn't do it anymore. And a lot of the stuff that people see, they're like, oh, you're taking over a family farm kind of thing. I was like, actually, no, I'm not. I actually work for this guy named Mark. Right. And then on the side, I'm got my own thing going on. And Mark was experiencing some of the issues that I was as well with my previous careers. Like, how do you find dependable help or somebody that's interested in doing their job kind of thing? And I was a person that felt the same way because I tried to manage an oil field company. So he was
smart and hired you. You should have hired him.
At the time, we were just kind of doing our thing, man.
But you've talked about Mark a lot, like just in conversations we've had. He's obviously a good buddy of yours.
Awesome dude. Yeah.
Somebody that allows you to do the other side of things that you do with Quick Dick and traveling and all that. So I'm trying to dial into what you I guess your farm, your family farm, et cetera. There's been some challenges, right?
Yeah.
If your dad's sold out and different things, there's obviously been a challenge, and that's what this whole podcast is supposed to be about. So how have you overcome those? And what, like, you're constantly fighting. So what's the next battle? Where are you going with this?
My biggest thing is I think, and it's hard to circumnavigate that the thought process of everybody. We live in a world right now where everybody wants everything right now.
Yep.
Right now.
Especially you with beer. Right. There you go.
Thank you.
Tommy, on top of things.
It's, you need to get off of the I want everything right now. And I get it. And it's how our world works. We've got social media, we've got all these different things, and I want it now. I want this to happen. I want that to happen. A lot of people don't take the time to just step back out of the mindset that they're at and be like, can I just look at where I'm at right now and think to myself, I'm okay. And that was a big part of me coming back home. I just kind of had the opportunity to step back and look at things and be like, you know what? I've got my health.
Right.
I've got this land, that I've got. I don't have some cows. I don't have this. I don't have that. And it's really easy. I find myself even now, I get caught up in the turmoil of being like, well, I want this right now. I want that right now. I want to do this right now. We need to not do that to ourselves. You need to just look at it and be like, hey, you know what? Like, it's okay. I've got this right now. I've got this right now. I think the most important thing that we need to look at the end of the day is be like, am I happy?
Well, I think it's so quick. It's funny that you say that because this is something that I learned in the last couple of years. And the concept is the gap and the gain. And it's how we always live in the gap, not Saskatchewan, right? Not the gap between Manitoba and Alberta, which I know. Bad
or
joke.
in the teeth of some of the ladies you find in the bar in Ontario. No, I love you, Ontario. Just kidding. Yeah.
But the gap is where we want to be, where we think we need to be. And that's, the future is always changing. So we want to be this, we want to be that. And then where we are, and so we sit there and we get depressed, we get angry, we get mad because we can't get to where we think we should be. And then the gain is what nobody thinks about, and that's where we've come from, right? And that's something for me and for Thunderstruck and for I often am like, okay, I want to go here, I want to be like that company, I want to do this, and it's like, man, look at where we were a year ago, look at where we were 2 years ago, and I think just as humans. The gap in the game, like living in the gap is a really depressing, hard place to be at because you don't have joy. And if you can find things that, even back to your show, if you think about that very first show you did, right? I mean, it's funny, we can laugh about it, but nothing compared to what you're doing now, right? And how far you've come. If you look at that, you have to be proud of yourself, right?
Yeah, you know what? But like I'm thankful too. I'm thankful for guys like you and companies like Thunderstruck and the Thanks for Farming Tour and a lot of people and Mandaco. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that people have shared my vision of humor, right? To bring to people, and you guys have brought a lot to the table for me, and I appreciate that.
But none of it happens without you being you.
Yeah, but if hell, I'll give you a straight up candid story. You want a real time version of living in the gap? Yeah. So, but like the farm's always chaos, and anybody that's listening that farms will know what I'm talking about. Leslie talked about a little bit of it today or whatever. But like when you're farming, something's always fucked. Right. It doesn't matter. You got to take the highs, you got to take the lows. You're gonna have times where everything's okay, but there's always something that's not right. You know what I mean? And I think when I do my bit on my dad's shop, it's an example of my dad's life where he's just been able to take something that's fucked, and just been able to be like,
roll with it.
I can't let it define me, right, or drag me down, right? So he's maybe taking it to
an extreme. That shop's something.
Yeah, but like I guess where this is going is when I left, like there was still 100 acres of hay laying down that's got to get rolled up, and I booked this to come down here to do this, and I knew I was tickling the tiger a little bit. And when I left home, it was I was 10 o'clock last night when I left home. I got here at 3 a.m. or whatever, and like I had to get down here and get some stuff, and I had to finish putting together what I put on for you guys this morning. And but I can be honest with you. When I left the farm and I was halfway here, I was like, what am I doing? Right. Like I was mad. I was like, I've got all this to do, and here I'm driving down here to do this. Fast forward to today, I've got 2 little kids that brought me pictures that they'd drawn of me and Blue Ball, and we took pictures, and everyone was laughing, and they were like, "That's my dad's shop and everything." But like you can't live in the gap when you're coming there and being like, what am I doing? You need to go to the end project or the end game of what it is. I'm bringing people happiness. And when you bring that to people, they give it back to you.
You touch one person, it's probably worth it.
You get it back so fast. And this has happened to me a few times. And when I was coming down here, like I got halfway here and I stopped and I got a coffee and, you know, got my Snickers on a little bit or whatever.
You were hangry.
But like, I was like, no, it's going to be fine. And I got here and I did it. And like, when I leave that stage of what we did today, like my cup is full.
That's awesome.
I'm good.
That's awesome. Well, you touch a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and you've certainly touched me, not inappropriately.
Not Michael Jackson style, right? Yeah, okay.
Man. So you're taking Egg Warriors into a whole nother level, but we appreciate you. We've always appreciated you. And like I said earlier, it's not because of the content. It's not because like I love watching how people react to you. You talked about those little kids. There's a whole bunch of little kids there today.
Yeah, man.
And that was, you know, keep talking about these 4 farmers, but they said it's crazy how much time he takes with those kids. And, you know, you've done the little shorts, you've done all these things, but it's just who you are as a man. I appreciate that, Quick. I appreciate you. Like, who knows if anybody's going to listen or stay listening this long? Like, this feels like a long podcast. Tommy's going to be like, hey, that was too long.
Can you guys
From
stop,
now
please?
on,
Yeah.
it's going to be 10 minutes.
You can
That's
never
it.
do 10 minutes.
I don't know.
Depending on what we're talking about. Actually, I've heard that lots in my life before. So yeah,
I've never done a podcast before. So we talk about your employee number one. I remember my first employee. Me and Tommy did a teaser and kind of talking about what this is going to be. Your podcast guest number one.
Number one.
Broke.
So it either goes
Broke
good.
me in.
If it goes,
This might be the last one.
If it goes bad from here,
Right.
it's also
I mean,
my fault. I don't
it
know.
is 100% your fault. And the reason that all these things are falling down around us is your fault too.
Yeah, well, like I told you, you guys get a couple of good deck screws and rip them through there. Everything should be fine. But then I don't care about the resale of the building. So
right. Yeah. Tommy said that our boss wouldn't allow that. So anyways, Quick, we won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for coming down here and just being you and taking some time with us.
Thanks for having me, and best of luck in the podcast area where there's 8 billion of them, and I hope somebody listens to you guys.
One person. If we made one person,
and it can't be your mom. All right, that's all.
Dang it! I was already gonna say my mom for sure will listen. But awesome. Okay.
Good to see you, man. Take care.
You too.